So far, people have shot guns, they've lobbed rockets, they've placed IEDs, all in an attempt to storm into Israel and to kill Israeli civilians and to destroy this state. It's a real tragedy what's happening, and the responsibility is completely on Hamas, which is calling for war and very proudly pushing its people towards war and hiding behind civilians as they shoot at Israel.
But all the deaths were on one side. No Israelis were killed. Isn't this a disproportionate response?
Well, how many dead Israelis would make it a proportional response? I think what's best is that we stop those who attack us. We take every measure to avoid hitting people who aren't involved. But frankly, Hamas makes it very hard when they burn tires and hide behind smoke screens as they try to cut through this fence in order to kill Israeli civilians. So I don't think that you look at the situation and say, well, if one dies on one side, one has to die on the other side. If somebody was breaking into your home to try to kill your family, and the police stopped them with use of force, you wouldn't say, well, isn't it a shame that more policemen didn't die in the effort to stop the terrorists? That's not how it works, and that is the situation here.
Are we going to continue to see these sort of deadly protests over the coming days?
Well, I hope not, but again, you'd have to ask that of the Hamas leadership, which is calling for war. You know, when I say that they call to kill every Israeli and every Jew, I'm not making that up. Those are the exact words of Hamas's leadership. Hamas's deputy speaker of the parliament, Ahmed Bahar, said, and I'll say it in Arabic, he said, count every Jew and kill them all. Don't leave a single one standing. He even called to kill every single American. This is the sort of group we're dealing with, and so when we see thousands of people amassing at our border, Israel is taking every measure necessary in order to protect our families who are just a few football fields away from where these attempted mass infiltrations are.
David, we saw the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem today. U.S. President Trump believes this is the first step towards peace. But how can it bring peace to the Palestinians if the Palestinians don't believe that the U.S. can be a fair broker here?
Well, it is a shame that the Palestinians have turned down every Israeli attempt to engage in dialogue and discussion, because that's going to be the foundation of peace. The Palestinian leadership is paying mass murderers hundreds of millions of dollars a year, terrorists and their families, as a reward for killing Israelis. So I think that progress can be made, but not so long as the Palestinian leadership is unwilling to sit down with Israel and negotiate. We've called literally hundreds of times to meet with President Abbas for real negotiations. Israel has peace with Egypt because Egypt wants peace with Israel, and Israel has peace with Jordan because Jordan wants peace with Israel. Israel doesn't have peace with the Palestinians because the Palestinian leadership doesn't want peace with Israel. It's that simple, and I hope that that changes, because everyone deserves to live in peace in this region.
They certainly do. We know the U.S. president has described his peace plan that they're working on as the deal of the century. What would that deal look like? What would satisfy both the Israelis and the Palestinians?
Well, we look forward to receiving the plan, and I think that the formula for peace is frankly pretty simple. It requires mutual respect. It requires mutual recognition. And so long as President Abbas is unwilling to sit with Prime Minister Netanyahu, so long as he is naming schools in the streets after mass murders, so long as he is paying hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorists and their families, the chances of peace look bleak. But as I said, our hand is outstretched in peace, as it has from day one, to all of our neighbors, because everyone here deserves to live with dignity and in peace.